Oh man, we're live.
That's pretty aggressive, man. Made me jump a little bit.
Way to go aggressive, man. Way to go aggressive. Bro, kicked it right at 8:30. It's becoming a thing. I'm liking
Yeah,
it.
it is. It is. Me too. Me too.
I was out I was over on my Facebook page and I've got a link for us. We're going to put it in the stream and see. Now we're going to figure out how this thing works.
Oh, we're just gonna let people in.
We're just well, I don't know if we're going to let people in just yet. But I got my app working.
Okay, cool.
I'm a little bit excited about it. Been a work in progress all week. I just posted a link on my Facebook page. So here, let's see if we could let's present.
Checking out your Facebook page now.
Are you looking? Okay.
I am. Reese Carter. It's the ultimate test that I refriend you. I did. Okay. Oh, there we go. I see myself.
Do you see yourself? Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Like a 30-second delay. It's awesome.
Well, I guess we're streaming there too.
Yeah.
All right. That's
we're
cool.
good. We're good.
Let me look and see if I'm streaming there. Okay, I am. I'm going to drop this link right here in the chat.
I just shared it to my friends, which are mainly
no. the promo spot is what I'm talking about.
Oh no, I just shared the stream to my friends, which are mostly your friends. So I guess we're going to get them one way or another.
We're going to get them one way or another. No, I've got the link, the preview link. So we're spamming people for email addresses to see who really wants in.
Nice.
But yeah, click on that link in the comments. I just put it there and see what you think.
I can show it up here.
Okay.
Oh, I just learned a limitation. I can't actually click it because if I click it, it's just going to show it on screen.
All right, let's figure this out.
If I put it up here and then, oh wait, I just made that full screen. Yeah, I can't click links in the chat from anybody because it'll just show them. That's a limitation of the system. We'll find a workaround for it.
Cool. I don't even know if I know I'm going to collect an email address, but I don't know if I'm actually sending anybody any information. I don't know. I just like, boom, let's rip it and go and see what sticks.
All right, man. Good to go. All right. Got the stream going several places. So what's up, man? How was any new and exciting news in Reese's world today?
Man, just to finally get this app going. That's the biggest thing. There's a ruck challenge going on that's got guys kind of jockeying for position. I love challenges, man.
Yeah, and we're not doing it actually.
Why not?
Well, perfect example of leadership here, knowing your guys, or at least I think it's perfect because I'm perfect, and therefore everything I do is perfect. It was announced, and it's a great idea, and it's part of my beliefs that every man should be capable physically. But my guys are struggling enough in getting the basics. A lot of them, it's like we were talking last week. When you get a whole team of new guys, there's really only me guiding them. I mean, I got me and I got my buddy, and we're the only guys that are really experienced in doing this. So we have to get the basics down before we're worried about claiming crowns through.
But you got to admit they got to be doing something.
They do. It's a requirement to even be with me that you have to have a physical plan.
Move.
Yeah, but as far as claiming crowns and getting wrapped up in competition and trying to be better than the next guy, like can you get the basics right for 90 days?
Yeah.
Can you do the basic level of requirement? And a lot of them can't. So we opted out.
I think that's kind of the level of leadership too that happens in the team. The guys that are kind of encouraging this, let's go beat them all. It's like, nah, it doesn't work like that.
No.
Let's go beat them all. And it's like that wasn't the incentive. It's supposed to be the byproduct of the event. The incentive is to do something that has you moving on it, and that's one of the things that I put into my team was commit to a mile.
Yeah.
Which you should be able to do a mile in 10 to 12 minutes. And if you're just talking with somebody on the phone while you're doing it, I mean, it's not hard, but do that regularly for 30, 60, 90 days. What are you doing now? Well, nothing. Okay, cool. We're going to do that.
Yeah.
But I'll guarantee you that, yeah, it's going to be all piss and vinegar in the first week or so. Guys are going to be turning in big numbers and heavyweight and everything like that. It'll die. But the team that does a mile a day, every day, consistently, will end up in the top 10. I guarantee.
No, every time. And I mean, there's definitely more than 10 teams doing it. So I mean, I'm curious to see the leaderboard because I have my feelings on who I think's going to take it. I'm going to hold that though, just in case I'm wrong, and then I can say I knew it all along. But but it goes for like the name that you make for yourself, right? Like there's certain teams that are involved in this challenge, and I'm like, they've got it. They've got a solid chance because I see the fruits of what they do, and I see the work and the labor, and I see the guys and what they're doing, and they're always out there rucking anyway. So like this challenge should be cake for them, right?
Yeah.
But what you mentioned there, the piss and vinegar and coming out of the gate hard and coming out of the gate and wanting to just like, claim that crown and win. Like that's kind of my job as a leader to hold that back and be like, hey, it's great to have that attitude. And it's great to want to, be out there and be the best in hard charge. But can we even get to the point where we're doing the equivalent of brushing our teeth every day? The basics, the not sexy stuff. Can we get that down for 90 days? And then,
well, this is that exact thing. It looks sexy when you call it a ruck.
Yeah.
And it looks sexy when you put on your sweet Gucci bag, which I got 2 of them.
Oh, nice.
You got the sweet Gucci bags and you're loading it up with weight and everything. But truth be told, my points are going to come from when I walk my dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're doing something you need to do. Yeah.
Every day. That's it. I lost huge amounts of weight early on just by walking my dog.
Yeah.
Consistently. So
getting out and moving.
That's what I think we could be teaching these fresh noobs coming in. That's what I'm trying to encourage. So I've got a leadership academy of guys that are teaching a variety of guys, order of man guys,
nice.
Connect group, men's leadership guys, and in their church communities and stuff like that. Basically, a little cadre of guys. That's what I built the app for too, is to be able to kind of hold them all together in that one function. But that's the thing that I'm teaching guys is going, look, you're working with men that you're disrupting their life. It's it's the first thing to understand in leadership is that it's disruption. You're a disruption, somebody's status quo. And how do we do that? We just start walking every day. The disruption is not the weight and the movement and the physicality. The disruption is the routine.
Yeah. But at what point at what point do you think it might not be beneficial to push guys like that? Because I've also been on teams where it's been presented as you are doing this, whether or not it aligns with your current plan.
No sustainability. It'll die.
It will exactly.
Die. There's no,
exactly.
There's
so what's the limit? Because like one of my favorite examples for this, in any circumstance, in any scenario, is 75 hard. It's great for people that want to do it. For me, it turns me into a giant jerk who hates everybody and everything, and I get no value. They're like, oh my God, I played out my day so great. I'm like, yeah, I planned when I was going to be mad. And I planned around the bathroom because it did nothing for me. But, when we're doing a team-wide or, whatever wide 75 hard, getting pushed into that, if you're not ready or if you're not seeing the value in it, can actually be detrimental to your guys and yourself, really. So, like, what's your limit, though? Like, do you look at your guys, you look at your team and say, hey, they're not ready for this, I'm going to protect them? Or do you prefer to just push them out of the door and let them go?
Personally, I'm going to push them out of the door because 12 minutes is nothing.
Okay.
It doesn't hurt. And I'm also aware while I'm working with them along the way, because they'll jump out there like, oh yeah, and get all hoorah on you. Yeah. And like, I turned in 6 miles today. It's like, slow your roll, player.
Yeah. It's like
Can you
watching
do
that
6
guy
miles
load.
tomorrow?
It's like
Yeah.
watching
Well,
that guy load 225 for power cleans at the beginning of the WOD, and you're like, oh yeah,
yeah.
buddy, get ready.
Yeah. And I'm that guy sometimes too. I know it. That's I'm not. I'm the guy that overloaded. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
But when I
I mean,
first started CrossFit, I had a mountain like on either side. I had plates piled because I knew I was gonna bitch out at some point and have to take like I had 135 made up out of like 10s and 15s so I could scale them
Mhm.
down, and then I had other weights, and I was like, yeah, something's wrong here, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It was all technique.
Yeah. Um, but when you're done with it, I mean, look, I was when I learned about snatching.
Yeah.
I was seeing a couple of guys in the gym that were like easy 185, 200-pound snatches,
Mhm.
and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to be doing that.
Yes, that's where I need
What's
to be.
wrong with me? What's
Mhm.
wrong with me? Why am I not getting that? Why am I like at the time like a full uh, squat clean um, was uh, to catch it in the low squat was 115.
Okay.
Uh, a snatch to catch it overhead was 95. And I'm
Yeah.
like, and I'm seeing the guys that are 180 and 200, and I'm like, oh, what's wrong with me? Only until I started looking up the numbers and going, yeah, those guys are special.
Mhm.
Applaud them, applaud them, applaud them. But the majority of guys are actually hitting in that 125, 135
Yeah.
range. It's like, oh, okay, well, I could hit that. That's attainable.
Yeah.
And that's when I started just not buying into the unicorns in the corner. That's something to aspire to, but that's not your working weight. That's
Yeah, and that
not your
goes into
WOD
your
weight.
12-minute your 12-minute theory there. Like that's attainable. You can do that. Like anybody
I
can
can do
can
that.
do
Yeah,
that
yeah.
on the
We're
phone.
just breaking habits and just getting you to get out of the because you weren't doing anything before. When's the last time you did something consistently for 90 days?
Oh, all the time, but you know,
And how
I've
many
arrived.
things are in 75 hard? 75 hard is 10 items on the regular. Am I right? If I remember right.
It's a lot because it pisses me off.
It does.
It's a gallon of
2
water.
workouts.
It's a
Yeah,
book,
2
2
45-minute
workouts.
workouts, and one side inside,
Yeah,
outside. Oh my
and they
gosh.
can't be stacked. They got to be separate.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's a ton of no alcohol, no cheat meals. So we're already up to like 7 or 8 there. It's
Real books, not even
yeah,
not even
real
a
books.
Kindle, real
No,
books.
you have to have paper in your hands.
Yeah.
It's not environmentally
So
sustainable.
so if you're diving into that and having not done anything consistently, you're going to be repeating a few times. You're going to be doing some
Yeah.
start overs.
I've actually never finished one because my marriage is more important to me than making it through a 75 hard, honestly. I mean, that's
Right.
where we'd be at. So,
But if you shot her a text every day and just encouraged her and just said, "Hey, I'm so glad you're the one I married."
yeah, no,
That'd
maybe. I
change
mean,
life. That'd change life.
you know, it's funny you mentioned stuff like that because I noticed that when we got sent home, back in 2019, I was going through a lot of change then anyway. You know, I was just getting into self improvement and all that, but being here and being able to have those little conversations, not necessarily over text, but like, passing and showing appreciation for the things she was doing in the house really improved my marriage. And it was something I didn't even intend on doing, but I would bet I did it for longer than 90 days because I'm doing it now. But
Yeah.
it's baby steps, man. And I really like taking the baby steps approach to everything, which is why
What if your daily tactic was, I'm going to pat my wife on the ass once
once
a day?
I would reach 90 days in probably 45 minutes.
A lot of guys can't even they can't remember the last time. It's like, cool, let's start with that.
And I'm very hands-on, so we're good. We're good there. We're good there. Objective received. But no, I mean, it's the truth. It's like we were talking about last week when we don't mention things as leaders. And it's funny because it came up as a theme in a call that we had later that week. When we don't bring things up that we're doing because we're like, that's just common sense, man. Like we don't need to tell people to do that. Everybody's doing that, right?
But they're
And
not.
They're not. They're not. And it's such a simple thing. Have you complimented your wife? Have you grabbed her ass? Have you made her feel special today? Some people would say that's basic shit. But I guarantee you, if you had a conversation with 10 men, you'd find 7 that aren't.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
that's why I like the assessment. That's why I like the 4-quadrant assessment. if your vision says that's your perfect 10 state, what's your current state?
Yeah.
And then connection is the one that you always see guys coming in and go, yeah, my marriage is a 6. Bullshit.
Yeah. If you're saying it's a 6,
Let's
then
go
we're gonna
ask
say-
her
Yeah.
and see where it's at.
Well,
And
you
that,
can
that
never self-appraise. That's not their fault. I mean, you
yeah.
know, it's like I tell the guys on my team. I was like, if you really want to know what kind of person you are, you can never self-appraise. You'll be like, yeah, I don't put up with any bullshit. I'm a go-getter. I'm this guy. If you want to know what kind of person you are truly, pay attention to what people tell you, because they know, one, you'll tolerate it, and two, they know you won't challenge them on it. So if you're hearing constantly about, if people are coming to you and they're like telling you about their affairs and all this, you've given them some indicator that you're fine with that. And that's the kind of person you are. That's the outside version that you put out to people. And it kind of ties in with what you were just saying. You know, if you're going to self-appraise yourself at a 60% for your marriage, what's your wife feel about you? Because it's probably 30% lower than that.
Fair.
It's a good
Self-appraise. I haven't heard that as a phrase, but I'm gonna.
Oh, I came up with the phrase. No, I mean,
like
but it's something that we all try to do, right? When we enter these self-help things or we enter these new domains, we're always
You still got to tell the
where are you
truth.
at? Yeah,
Yeah, you got
but
to
it's
tell the truth.
impossible to. It's impossible for you to tell the truth about yourself because you're the greatest fucking person in the world to yourself.
Well, my mom told me I was.
I mean, my mom told me I was too. But you never really see your flaws. It's like in the design world. I work in graphic design and branding and all that. And when I'm working on a design, I think it's perfect. And if I hand it off to like Todd, one of my mentors, he can rip everything apart about it. And I can do the same with his work, but he can't do it with his own. You see what I'm saying? Like you made it. You're the product. You don't see the problems with it.
Right.
You have to ask outside people what your problems are. That's it. That's my one smart thing for the day, and I got it out of the way in 16 minutes.
Man, talk about blowing your load.
I know. Right. A little early. Got a little excited.
Oh my gosh. This one guy today. And it's funny, you got to have context for a story or a context for a statement.
All right, lay it on me.
And a guy goes, he had just gotten a fresh haircut. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Looking good. He's kind of crafting his mustache into place and looking good.
I think I know who we're talking about.
You might, but anyway, it's coming into play. And I said, hey man, where'd you get your haircut? And he goes, I found this place, but I don't think I'm going back to him again. Like, really? Why not? And he goes, I thought I was going to get like a happy ending when it was over. Like, and that caught me on surprise. I was like, wait, you didn't get one, so you're disappointed. You were expecting one when you walked in. I was like, give me some finish the picture here.
Yeah. We need context, my friend.
We need total context. And he goes, one, I didn't get one. Two, wasn't wanting one, but they made it seem like that was going to be part of the package. I was like, okay, I'm tracking now. Okay.
Yeah.
But when you just lay it out there, like I didn't get one, I was like,
yeah, I think I know the chain he's talking about because I think we have one here. And back when I had hair, I got a haircut there once, and it was very much geared toward making men feel special. It was like the lonely man special haircut. I bet you those girls do amazing in tip.
I bet. I like the scenario of keeping it like a speakeasy.
Yeah.
To go in and have a whiskey, and just that smooth, chill vibe. The $100 that you have to pay to get it at that point, I struggle with. But I like the vibe. But I don't know I need to go find this place out.
Because I'm curious.
I was like, what does a setting like that look like?
I mean, you have hair, so you're gonna have to do the research on this one.
I know I'm gonna have to go experiment on it. So I got a sweet place that I go to. I get charged for the haircut, but nobody messes with me on the beard or the mustache.
Oh, nice.
They want to charge you like 25 for one and 20 for the other. I don't know. I just trim it. Run the trimmer over. It's not that hard, I don't know that it's worth you $20, but she's like, no, it's no big deal. Charge me for the hair, and then I tip the beard.
Nice. I'm in a self beard maintenance myself.
Are you?
Yeah, right there in the clippers in the bathroom. Make the wife
Yeah.
mad, leave hair everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, that way I know nobody else is coming in the house because there's obviously a man here. I mean, yeah, right? Because you just leave it everywhere.
I need some rechargeable or battery powered or probably just a rechargeable set. I got the plug-in set.
They
Um,
got stupid expensive though.
they have get the rechargeable ones. I just go do it myself out in the garage or out in the yard. I hate the mess everywhere.
Oh, I
That's
hate
the
the
whole
mess
thing.
too, but I found out if I leave it there long enough, it just magically goes away. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
So
it's a
back to
great
your
feature.
assessing your connection.
Yeah, no, it's a great feature of my house. I don't know when it was installed. It started around 2008 ish,
I don't know
but you
why
know.
she left.
Well, no, I mean, like we're laughing about it, but it is true. I mean, it's a conversation that we have several times, and if you were to ask her on that scale, she would probably bring that up as a major problem because she's always on about it. But I'm sitting here laughing and joking about it. I know I do it. Am I making an effort to improve it? No. Should I be? Yes. If she's one of the people watching right now, she's probably outside the door right now. But I
Very
don't
well
hear her,
could
so
be.
we're good. But it's one of those. It's one of those things you really can't sell. Like to me, it's not a huge deal. To her, it's a major thing. And it probably should be something that I try to do for 90 days here because I do a lot of beer maintenance. It probably should be something. It will be something that I'm going to work on now over the next 90 days. Making sure my hair is cleaned up out of the sink. Baby steps before we get the big wins.
Baby steps. Left turn. How was Veterans Day?
It was.
Are you a list of all the free restaurants
I am
kind of guy?
No. This is the weird thing. I don't. It's it's going to be really hard for me to say this and not irritate some people, but it's like I try not to make Veterans Day a thing for me.
I'm tracking.
I look at
About
it
the same.
as it's something I did. It's an accomplishment I earned. But I don't allow myself to live in that world where I'm going out and getting the free meals and parading myself around. Because I've done new things. I've done new things in the 17, well, how long have I been out? I got out in 09. So I've done new things since 2009. I've done new things I want to be known for. Yeah, like being a veteran is a huge part of my life and I appreciate it and I appreciate what it did for me. But I don't want to rest on that. And I don't want to make that, my identity and Brovet and all that. But that's just my view on it. Like there's nothing wrong if you want to go out and do that. So how was yours? I mean, mine was chill. I sat here and I did design and wrote all day.
My my father-in-law, he made his list out. I'm going to hit this place for breakfast. I'm going to hit this place for a midday,
Yeah.
and here's my lunch and the whole bit. And my wife got an email with a list of all the restaurants and all the promos, and she read them out. And it's like, oh, you like this place? Oh, you'd like this place? I
Yeah.
was like, I guess I could.
Yeah.
Never did.
No. But I mean, there's, it's there's a ton of free food to be had if you're game for that. But yeah, no, it's not something we get into here too much. I mean, people wish me happy Veterans Day. I say thanks, but it's not
Yeah.
I mean, I just had it was a normal Saturday for us over here.
I'm
Pretty nice.
like, I'm more like, thank you for the opportunity to serve.
Yeah.
Because I had an all expense paid, it wasn't a vacation by any means.
Sure it was.
But
you believe the posters.
It was a very poorly furnished trip around the world. and I had my fun and all of its decadence and glory. But no, thank you for my service.
Yeah.
But I'm good. But I'll take a free cup of coffee.
Free cup of coffee is good. I mean, my time in, I really can't complain. I ended up with VFC 12 that does Red Air for Top Gun. So I mean, I just went to cool places like Key West and Fallon in California and just traveled the US and in planes. It was honestly kind of a blast. It was a great experience. I never actually I touched several boats, but I never actually had to leave on them.
Yeah.
So it was, it was pretty awesome.
Where's
experience.
Fallon at?
Fallon is up in the that weird place where the Nevada border kind of like does this. Fallon's kind of up in that area of Nevada. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's probably, I think it's closer to Reno than anything. It sits off of Highway 50. And there's nothing there. The government cares so little about it that it's actually the munitions testing range.
Yeah, I know exactly where you're at.
You probably actually worked with us a couple. Well, not, we were at different times, but yeah, you probably went out there with us.
No, we were halfway, and we were building test sites.
Area 51.
For stuff like that. But we knew that because planes there were, when we were calling things in for simulations, they were coming from Fallon, but I never knew where they were coming from. I know.
That was us chasing tumbleweeds down the flight line in Nevada for 6 to 8 weeks at a time. That's the worst place for us to go.
I did. I had a girlfriend in Reno.
Yeah.
That I made a number of trips up that direction. Because I would go to Reno and then we would go to Mountain Home. Now I remember. Yeah. But I would go through Fallon.
Yeah. I mean, blink and you miss it. I think there's 2 cheap casinos there and a place called Frank's that never failed to support us in our times of need at about 2 a.m. So pretty good food when you're leaving the casinos there.
Yeah.
Good times all around.
So tell me about your team now. You guys got it overloaded with new guys, or?
No. And actually, one of our other leaders touched on it. And we'll get to that in a second, but no, we didn't really get overloaded with new guys. We got,
how many do you have now? Are you 15?
No, we were at 14, and then 2 guys left, and then some guys got kicked out. We're down to 10 now.
Oh, okay. Not afraid to kick them out.
No, not afraid to kick them out. Cause let's touch on that since you said it. So not kicking guys out is a disservice to everybody else. I mean, if somebody's there and they're not pulling their weight and everybody else is, you're setting a standard for one guy to keep being a just substandard man, which is not what he joined us for. And I'm really having to censor myself on this statement. And you're setting the standards for the other men to start slacking off because nothing's happening to him. So when someone's not pulling their weight, and this is where the Jocko principles come in, and you want to give them effective, counseling and effective remediation attempts. But if they're not doing it after that point, they need to be gone. Yeah. But as far as the new class goes, we picked up one guy. We had 2 guys join calls. So we picked up one. He's a good asset to the team so far, but we didn't really get approached a lot. And I told the guys that we really need to stop doing cattle calls, which have become a problem, across
cattle calls.
When you just get up and you're like, hey, if you're looking for a place to go, come here. And then you get like 50 guys doing that at the same time. Like, I know one person in particular that really irritates. So we moved away from that. We've actually started targeting guys via chat. And, in every area of your life, if you're trying to get people to do things for you or do things with you, it always pays off to be more personal. And we're getting a lot better response out of that. But what we're seeing here is a lot of guys, and this might be something we address deeper. A lot of guys are kind of just waiting around for somebody to call them and invite them on. And we're seeing a lack of initiative and a lack of initiative on one part. We're seeing a lack of decisiveness on the other, where some guys are reaching out to 10, 15, 20 different teams to try to, find the perfect one. Mm-hmm. And they're getting bogged down. And like, I was talking to one guy, not out of this cycle, but the last cycle, he was talking to a team every single night for like 2 weeks. I was like, where are you at in the process? He's like, well, I got to talk to this guy, this guy, this guy. These guys have a second call I got to go to. So that's on this night. And I was like, what are you doing? Like,
sovereignty spells that out with the ability to be decisive.
Yeah. Well, and the ability to leave too. Like if you're in somewhere that doesn't work out, leave. I mean, you're a sovereign man. It's not that big of a, it is and it isn't. I don't really consider joining a team to be a huge decision when you're looking at it at its basis form. I mean, you're going to go in there, you're going to do what you're going to do, you're going to find out the team doesn't work for you, and if you do, there's really no penalty for trying out other teams and going. So, and that, to me, the way I look at life, I don't know, maybe you can challenge me on this because I know you will, but that's how I kind of look at everything. Like, I'm going to get into this, and if it doesn't work, or if it's not working, or if it's not somewhere I need to be, then I can walk. You know, jobs, relationships, everything. That's the benefit of being a free man, right?
That's exactly what it is. I mean, right down to the core, and knowing who you are, and knowing that it's not personal.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's just not a fit. But you do you. I'm moving on. A
How's
lot
it
of
going on
people
your
struggle with that. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I didn't mean to cut you off there. I wanted to know how it's going on your end. I mean, you're in the process of mentoring a rebuild, so I'm really curious to hear what you got going on.
My theory on it is just loaded up with guys, and then they'll self-select out. If they're not like complete a-holes on the team, then they've got a place for the time.
Yeah. Now, how do you define complete a-hole?
Well, the ones that are just not doing anything.
Okay,
That's a whole different thing. But they're still fumbling around. They're still trying to, navigate what a vision statement is. They're still trying to, still trying to figure out tactics, and overloading them and overcommitting, and just like being open to those conversations.
Yeah.
Going, I'm going to work out 7 days a week. No, you're not.
75 hard. What?
What? Yeah. If you no, just we're going to do something every day.
Yeah.
And we'll see you on the other side. Just do that on the regular. And I'm watching the guys fumble around with it, trying to lead those conversations and going, well, don't they need this? Don't they? It's like, they'll figure it out. Just load the team up. Let's get some momentum back in, and then let things fall where they will. On the LDP side, the one where I'm mentoring guys, in that same setting, that's going really good, and about to have them jump into the next phase of it, of committing to finding somebody to make themselves personally responsible for.
Nice. No, so what do you mean about that? That's interesting. Unpack that for me, please.
Well, going out and being intentional, showing them here's how you slide into their DMs, and keep it from screwing up the system. But let me read your message first. And so I'll read their messages with them, and going, keeping it from being the billboard. Hey, if you don't have a team, come join ours. No.
Yeah.
My approach to that setting is, I send them a DM going, hey man, I've been in this game for 6+ years. The biggest thing I found that was beneficial is asking 3 questions. What do I want? When do I want it? And who do I have to become to get it by then? If I could help you with any of that, hit me back.
It's funny because I remember this conversation that we had 3 years ago when you messaged me, and you gave me that exact line.
Yep.
And I think I had such a chip on my shoulder that I replied with, well, I'm already talking to a team. And you were like, well, I'm not inviting you to a team. So
yeah. Did I really say that? I usually would.
I was like, yeah, I was like, I'm already talking to a team. And you were like, I wasn't inviting you to a team. And I was like, well, damn. Okay. That dude's a jerk.
When you could learn to be bold like that, it actually becomes really fun, because you're just filtering people out, going, hey, who do we have to work with here? Who wants to do this stuff? Who doesn't have a chip on their shoulder? I get both sides of it. I rarely get your reply like, well, I'm already talking to somebody. Okay, cool. Good luck, man. Let me know how I can help that. But I get the other side of it and going, thank you. I didn't have anybody challenging me like that.
Yeah. Well, and that's a big problem, everywhere. Nobody's challenging anybody anymore. I mean, finding places where that's open and available and expected is rare.
It is. And I think that's what we need to be teaching in this next wave of not new guys coming in, but in the wave of leaders that are currently there.
Yeah.
I don't think they know how to be that bold yet. Um,
Well, it's a
I
skill. I mean,
it is totally a
it's
skill.
counter to everything that we've been taught in this generation. It's counter to everything that we've heard. We're always told you don't have these conversations in polite.
In the status quo world, you
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, in the status quo
Yeah,
world. I mean,
not
until you get into an organization like we're in where it's expected and it's the norm. I mean, if we talk to people daily the way we talk to each other, we would be in HR constantly. Like I have to remember sometimes that I'm not dealing with my guys when I'm talking to people at work because people just can't handle honesty anymore. It seems in a lot of different and it's not even when you're trying to attack them. It's like it goes to your point earlier about me and you talking in the sorry. I got like this fruit fly keeps going around. I'm trying to get rid of it. Criticizing people's work now, especially in my field of design. When I say this could be better, it's always a personal attack now.
Yeah.
Regardless of how it's delivered, it's always, oh, he doesn't like me. He doesn't like my work.
I think it gets easier when you remind somebody of the mission.
Yeah.
Reminding them, I mean, I can imagine what that mission could be and yours when like if you consciously ask this question when you're going to meet with somebody that's doing artwork for you, your instinctual ask before you get into their artwork and going, hey, so tell me who we're designing this for.
Yeah.
Remind me of them first before you show me any of your pictures. Show me, because otherwise your artwork is just cartoons. Who's this for?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's for such and such a person, and what's their outcome supposed to be? It's supposed to be this. Like, okay, cool. Now let's go ahead and take a look at it and see if what you're doing conveys that message.
Yeah.
And then it's an easy conversation. Does it really look like it conveys that message? Well, no, I just like the color tones.
Yeah. And, but it's funny. I actually
But you get to lay that mission out there. And first,
Yeah.
now you're not the bad guy. It's like, hey, it just didn't convey the message that we wanted to be that we wanted done in the first place. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not seeing it. You tell me how this is actually seeing that. They'll see it for themselves.
No, they'll see it it's interesting that you say that because it's another one of those things like we were just talking about. It's common sense to me to say that we're always doing for the customer's brand and we're always doing within these guidelines. Maybe that's a conversation I need to start having then is like, hey, walk me through your process, because usually I have to revert to the compliment sandwich where I'm like, hey, you do really good work.
Mm-hmm.
This is bad, but you did really good last week too. So like, let's strive to do better. So, I'm learning stuff from you, Reese, still every day. Maybe that's the conversation I need to start having.
Remember Roseanne Barr, and she
Yeah.
was fired from CBS, I think it was.
Yeah.
And I remember the guy that had to go hand it. Oh man, the essence of the story was. I'm looking it up right now, and I'm not seeing anything that's jumping
Google
out.
Roseanne Barr, you're gonna get.
Well, I see robot. Yeah, I get that, but the essence of the story that was happening there. The executive had to go, hey, what are we going to do with her? She's making these outlandish statements and everything like that. And he goes, he sat back for a second and he goes, our mission is to serve this content from these people. And basically what she was doing was counterculture to what their mission was.
Yeah.
And he said, we're going to keep to this mission and just let her know that what she's doing isn't a part of that. And when you hold to the mission, it's a very short conversation. There's no him hawing around.
Yeah.
You don't have to second guess anything. Especially like, guys writing these SOPs for their teams. And all these long outlandish things, outlandish. They're probably very, genuine, but it's so much admin to keep up with it all. Why do you set that bar so high with all that
Yeah.
admin?
Well, and are you writing for
Um,
the man you are, or are you writing for the man you want to be? Is another
yeah,
question I think we need to ask ourselves.
that's
Like, are
that's a
you
very
even
big
doing
thing.
this? Like, no?
Yeah.
Okay. So why's it in there?
So when a guy goes, so you have to report your numbers on what you did for the week
Yeah.
on the call or in the team channel. You have to do that on Sunday, and if it's not there on Monday, it's late. Well, reporting those numbers is your ticket to be on the team call.
Yeah. I implemented that actually after hearing it. Works like a
All of a
charm.
sudden, if that doesn't happen, all these other things that you were trying to have criteria, like you don't even have to remember them anymore.
Yep.
Report your
Success in the
numbers. You can
basics.
yeah, and then get on the call and going, hey, yeah, your numbers weren't posted in time. We'll see you next week.
Click.
Complete. Now, as an admin, that's all you have to remember. Did he or did he not report his numbers on time?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, and you also have to be on 2 calls a month. Well, now you're you already missed one.
Yeah. Yeah, we give them
Because
2
you didn't
misses a
report your
quarter on
numbers.
mine. Yeah, we give them 2
Yeah.
misses a quarter on mine, but it's the same thing. It's all about breaking it down into the most simple things. And I mean, I really think that if we were to write, there's a lot of different cases for accounting for the man you are and not the man you want to be. And
Right.
and really what it comes down to me when I'm writing SOPs or when I have these things going on in the team, it's like, is this something that I'm even doing? Am I worthy to hold somebody accountable to this standard? Yes or no?
Yeah. If you put up all the pedigree stuff on there, it's really hard to meet it. But I could just report numbers.
Yeah. No, it's good.
And then I can show up on the team call. It's like, okay, cool. Let's hold that standard consistently, and then we'll jump into the more hoops to jump through. Way easier to manage.
Well, and speaking of holding standards, let's talk about this. This is something that I it's a recurring theme in things I talk about with people. So as a leader, we're not on top of the mountain, but we are higher up the mountain. We can see where we came from.
Yeah.
But when we're trying to bring new people in and when we're vetting new people to join our teams, we all naturally want rock stars. And I always ask people, would you let yourself that joined us, would you let that person on the team? And I always get a resounding no.
Then why? Yeah.
So then why, like, what is the point of having these organizations and what's the point of being a leader if you don't take coachable, messed up men and build them up to where you are? Like, it's kind of, I mean, it applies in all leadership. I mean, you're looking from a position where you've been here for a long time. You've been doing this job a long time. You've been doing this thing a long time, so why do you think that all of your new people have to be on that level too? I want to get your take on that.
I think it's an easy thing when you go back to the missions. Like, are you here to, I mean, in our case, are we here to raise men up? If you know that you're there to raise men up, then you have to know that they're not going to be up there yet.
Yeah.
So it's an easy thing to understand. Or you're gonna get very particular of cherry picking the rock stars and but know that the percentages don't that those percentages may not, might be a slow team build.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't
got
have anybody to build up either.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the biggest selling points is, hey, look how this guy grew here. If you take on guys with no room to grow, then I mean, what value are you really going to show people? I mean, you're just making your life easier.
Yeah. So just understanding the position, understanding the position that and the mission that you're supposed to be implementing. Does it mean that there's going to be rock stars out there, or are you going to have to make them?
Yeah.
Just and being okay with, I'm going to make some rock stars. Okay, cool. Then fill it up the team and use it as a filtering system.
Yeah. And see, in my opinion, when I coach somebody to the point that they're a rock star, they're ready for the next level. They're ready to go
Yeah.
somewhere else to be challenged differently. Even, it doesn't matter work on this team, whatever. Like as soon as I get somebody to the point where they are as good as me, they need to go somewhere else to get better. I
Yeah.
taught them all I can teach them.
Where do we send guys to go lead?
Well, what I've done that's worked well for me in the past. I've got my second in command here. He's ready for a team. We're coaching him through that. But I've had several guys be ready that I don't have a spot for. And so I found guys that don't have a second in command and gave those guys to them.
Do you see an opportunity to go telling them to look back locally? Where should they be leading locally?
I don't tell them like that. I always say that we're leaders whether we want to be or not, in home.
I mean,
and
let's go
church.
back. Yeah, let's go back to your vision statement.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself as a pillar in your community?
Yeah.
In your church and in your neighborhood, your kids' sporting activity, football, baseball, soccer, whatever the case may be. Where do you see yourself leading in those things? I'm finding that a lot of guys just aren't there. They're going, well, I want this position over here in the order of man. Like,
Yeah.
why here?
What are you doing?
Why not locally?
Yeah. Well, it's sometimes you want the kudos, but I mean, if you're not leading something locally, I mean, well, let me take that back, because I don't believe that any man is not leading anything. You are leading something. You might not be leading it effectively, but you are leading, and you are an example for somebody, whether or not you have children, whether or not you have a wife. Somebody is looking up to you. I think one of our teams has someone is relying on you as their thing, but somebody is looking up to you. Somebody is looking to you to be the example.
Keep going on that thought, and let me
Yeah.
share something.
No, I mean, that's it was something that was presented to me in church years ago. I wanted to go into ministry. I wanted to do this, want to do that. And they asked me the same question: where are you leading now? And I was like, well, I don't have anybody to lead. And he was like, oh, you got a wife, you got kids, right? Are you leading them? Oh, so, we need to be ready for, and we need to identify these opportunities to lead in our daily lives. I mean, I guarantee you that if you walked around and you started paying attention to people, when people come to you for your opinion or with questions, they're valuing your leadership. They're valuing your expertise in something. And so if your eyes aren't open for that opportunity, you're never going to see the people that you're influencing, and you're never going to see the people that you're leading. So, I challenge everybody listening, keep your eyes open this week and see who is looking up to you. It might not be another man. It might not be the people you expect, but somebody is looking to you to lead them. So take advantage of that. Learn, let them learn through you. Lead them. They're looking to you for something.
What?
Did I give you enough time?
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
That's brilliant. So it comes down to the conversation of groups.
Yeah.
So, and the question of so the statement that a voluntary combination of two or more people is a group.
Yeah.
I can appreciate just being a role model. But I don't think there's a level of accountability there.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not taking responsibility to be a direct influence for that person to measure by.
Okay.
You're hoping they're influenced, but it's just hope. There's not an agreement there, so it's a poor group.
Yeah.
You're an influencer at that point, but you're not really leading anybody into a fight. So it's a conversation of a group. A group is a voluntary combination of two or more people. If you looked at it scripturally, it's from him the whole body, joined and held together by every supporting ligament, grows and builds itself up in love as each part does its work. That's from Ephesians 4:16.
Mm-hmm. Did you just call it up from memory? That's amazing.
No, I've got it. Got a note here. But there has to be all these parts here. So for a guy to go, well, I'm just a role model. Like, well, that's not an effective group.
Well, see, I would argue that even a role model is leading, though, because you're providing an example. I mean, you are accountable for the advice that
you're only accountable to yourself there. You're not accountable for what that person's outcome is.
No, but you're accountable for what? Well, I guess we're kind of making the same point. Looking at, I was going to say you're accountable for the information you give them, but
Yeah.
I guess there's really no consequence on you if it's bad.
Yeah, there's really no consequence on you. You just go find another person. From a Socratic position of asking the question, is a man's natural desire solitude or combination? Also, are there different types of groups that people form, and are there any types of groups that are more important than others? So, looking at it, a man is by nature a group forming animal, and a group is a voluntary combination of two or more people. And there are three distinct types of groups that are relevant to our lead source discussion: communities, organizations, and teams. Now, the specific reasons that lead people to combine and the manner in which they come together are both immaterial to this very broad definition, nor are there any formational requirements to meet the definition of a group beyond a tacit agreement between the members to voluntarily combine. Group membership is never coercive.
Nice.
So if you're going to be responsible, you need to be responsible to the group, and the group needs to see you as the leader of it. Otherwise, you're just, like I said, you're just an influence.
Yeah.
But you're not leading those people to advantage. You've not said, "Hey, follow me. We're going into this fight," and nobody's going to cry on each other's shoulders when it doesn't. You're just going to go replace them. So, so the role model thing is, I think it's immeasurable, and I think a lot of guys hide behind it.
No, I mean that's a good point. Yeah, I mean a lot of there's a lot of hiding. We don't have time to get into that right now, but there's a lot.
No, we don't. There is a lot of. So we seek strength in numbers for a variety of different reasons, but the most elemental is that life itself, while technically possible as a singleton, is not practical without combination with others. Loneliness is our subconscious yelling at us to go find a partner, because we are not supposed to live like that. It's dangerous.
Yeah.
It's really ineffective. So an illustration of this elemental need to combine is portrayed in the movie Castaway.
Okay. Yeah. With
So
Wilson.
Tom Hanks plays Chuck Nolan, a man shipwrecked alone on an island in the middle of the Pacific, and initially he's consumed with learning the basic survival skills for which modern man has no direct need, like starting a fire or spearing a fish in shallow water. But which makes the difference between life and death for a modern man cast out into the wilderness alone. So he needed those things, but we have a hard time understanding the need for those things. We can't. We've got a push button world.
Yeah.
Well, after many failures, Chuck is triumphant at the ignition of his first fire and dancing around the flames. He does not for the moment hear the voice of loneliness yelling at him.
Yeah. Getting kind of deep here.
Yeah, but flashing forward 4 years after a self-administered root canal with a hockey skate almost kills him, we are presented with a different man. He's lean and competent at survival, and Chuck spears a fish with one quick flick of his wrist, but now there is no dancing. Yeah. And the camera focuses in on a face consumed by worry, illustrating how Chuck has been worn down by his loneliness.
Yeah.
In fact, we come to find out that he has been experimenting with a means of suicide because he knows he is only one unlucky fall away from dying slowly and painfully from a broken leg. And life alone is dangerous, and it's too dangerous to be worth the risk.
Yeah.
We learn of this realization from Chuck's conversations with a volleyball, upon which he has finger painted a face. And it's so deep in his need to be a part of a group that Chuck creates a co-member in his mind with whom to combine, and who he calls Wilson. And ultimately, the group, Chuck and Wilson, decides that the risk of death on the deep blue sea on a rickety raft is worth the slim possibility of finding other people. And the ocean is dangerous, but not nearly as dangerous as life alone on the island.
Yeah. That whole story reminded me of, it's an old story and it was really good. Um, it reminds me though of I think last year the story was making the rounds again about Margaret Mead. She's a sociologist, and you probably heard this, or at least I hope you have. But she was asked when, could she point to a place in history where we became civilized? And she said about 15,000 years ago is when man became civilized, because that's the oldest archaeological record of us finding a broken femur that healed in a Homo sapien. So this
Really?
guy, yeah. So this guy or girl, I can't remember what one it was, broke their femur, and somebody in the village took them in, cared for them, tended for them, let it heal. Because she said back then, 15,000 years ago, that was a death sentence to break your leg. You weren't going to be able to hunt, fish, run, defend yourself. So, to your point with Wilson, we don't do well alone. We're one bad fall, one bad step away from death if we try to go this alone. We need community, but that community more effectively needs a leader.
So when your guys are sitting there clamoring of going, hey, I want to lead, push them back out there, who wants you to lead them in your immediate neighborhood?
Here in the neighborhood, I've had plenty of things that I saw as opportunities that weren't, which is something we need to cover. Like, do you have the currency to cash this in? Here in the neighborhood, though, I really the opportunity that I have to lead, I've really been slacking on. I've got these 3 kids up the street, and they're just showing all of the examples of a fatherless home and needing guidance and support, which they come around to try to get. The only problem is they're extremely destructive at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very difficult for me to allow them in because, I have kids of my own and I have, things here that I don't want broken. So I guess you could say that's an opportunity to lead my neighborhood that I've been running from. That's the one that stands out most in my mind.
What can you organize that pushes you out there to make those guys commit to you?
Some kind, like, it's crossed my mind to do some kind of kids group. I mean, I'm looking at my corner right now. We've got like 7 bows there, and I've got targets in the backyard and arrows. And I mean, I know from past events up there in Maine that that's a really good bonding opportunity. I've also got hatchets here that we could throw.
Yeah.
Not sure. I think it's about channeling. I saw this. I saw the story about some kids that had broken windows somewhere, and it was a martial arts studio, and the guy offered them free lessons if they would come back to show them how to channel that anger. And I think that's a lot of these
kids' Jason Wilson thing, wasn't it?
It might have been. I can't remember where I saw it.
Yeah,
because it wasn't somebody I follow. It was something that came across my feed. But I think that's their actually, I know it's their problem because I went to high school with their dad and middle school with him. Like, I knew him, and I know where he is now. So they definitely have some anger issues that need to be harnessed. But it needs to be an environment where it's not focused. Like, it needs to be a group of 10 or more where they don't feel overwhelmed and singled out.
How old are they?
I want to say one's 8, one's probably 13, and one's like 5. So, I mean, we've got bows and everything. The problem here is the problem I'm running into, and it could be an excuse or not, but there's not a large number of positively influential children here to get together. And I don't want to get in a situation where I've got, 10 emotionally disturbed children that I'm trying to like deal with sharp objects at the same time, because I got my own kids here too. It's difficult, man. I'd love to pick someone's brain about how to do something like that, because they're always here. They're always riding their bikes around. They're always destructive.
Yeah.
And I can see what the reason is, even though I don't want them, here when I'm not here. I can see the reasons and I can see the cure for it, but I can't see how to make this all happen safely.
Seemed like there's a good chance for a Sandlot. Well, the weather's changing, but a Sandlot T-ball league or something.
Yeah, I mean, they're in football, so they do play sports. The mom does have them in sports, that have them in football, but that's 1 hour, 2 hours a week.
Yeah,
and then they got all this time here where they're just bored, destructive, and angry. I mean, dad's in jail. Like, they were taken from him, moved here from Florida. He's in jail, so they're angry. There's a lot of anger there that's got to be dealt with, and they only get 2 hours a week to get it out for 8 weeks a year. So, that's why
teach them how to build. Yeah, teach them how to build some ramps and start
That's a good idea. That's
Show
a
them
good
how
idea.
to build jumps and go, hey, if you stack this up, it makes a cool ramp, but I'm not going to show you how to do it, but you guys figure it out and see what they come up with.
That's good. That's good. Maybe I'll try that.
Way less liability.
Yeah, because I mean they come around and they play with the other kids, but it
Yeah.
never ends positively for them because they always end up doing something destructive at some point. So
Yeah. I remember my oldest was, him and his buddies were passionate about just like breaking stuff.
yeah, that describes these kids. Yeah,
Yeah. It's something about that age, man. Is like they want to get something, out of their system. And so it's like, hey, go smash these Amazon boxes
yeah.
and see how many pieces you can get out of them and see what's the best tool for getting the most pieces. 3, 2, 1, go.
That's good. I didn't think about that because the reason that they got kind of cut off was slamming bikes into my driveway and car. One of the
Yeah.
times I had them over. Yeah, I didn't think of a way to channel that. I thought of a way like,
Here,
you
go
know,
stack
get
these
out.
boxes up and then drive and then crash your bike into it. And you'll see how awesome that is. And then start busting these boxes up with a bat and see if you can get them into smaller pieces. And oh, by the way, set fire to them just to see.
Just see what happens. Well, no, it's good. I mean, this is what we were talking about, though. This is why we need community, right? Like, I don't have ideas on this.
Yeah.
I'm out of ideas,
Yeah.
but I got somebody who knows.
Well, you're
I
still
mean,
pissed about the car where they were trying to.
you know, especially because that was like, I think that was the week I found out that they were going to stop making Challengers like this year or next year. And so I was already thinking about like covering it up and just leaving it there for, 5-10 years and letting the value go up. And now it's got some dents.
There you go. You got your work cut out. Find those kids something to do and do car repairs.
Yeah.
But no, yeah. Make those kind of projects for the guys that they say they want to lead. Like, cool. Show me where you're leading.
Yeah.
Give me a case study. Show me and get a sideline project. I think that will keep us from overloading the wannabe leaders. That's our next thing.
That's good because my current method is give them something small. And
Let
then
them make their own small.
that's probably more effective because right now I give them something small and then I make sure they're doing it. And usually that
They'll do
weeds
it.
them out because they just want a
Yeah,
title.
it does. Yeah, that's what they're looking for is they just
Yeah.
want the title.
It's like, yeah, the title. Did you do the work this week? No. Well,
Yeah.
why do you have that title then?
Bring us back a project and let us
Yeah.
see, and we'll vet.
I should
we'll
probably
vet-
make them do it themselves. That would take steps off my plate.
It absolutely would. Hey man, we're hitting the hour.
Yeah, man.
Let me go sort out this landing page as to why it's not collecting my email addresses like I wanted to.
Sweet.
Yeah, and sign yourself up and get on it because we're gonna
Put it up here again
be
so they
broadcasting
can see it.
this is my Beyond the Whiteboard project.
Chipper Mover 4395.ck.page
Yeah, we gotta work on that.
36F8CA5341. That was my assistance.
I appreciate it. Thank you for your service.
Anytime, man. Anytime.
Cool, man. Have a good week.
You too.